as well, but I have a special message for the women. So here is the title today. Are you ready? Now listen to all three words, okay? The title for today is Woman of Worship, Wealth, and Wonders. Oh, the presence is increasing. So let's get into this. So I want you to go with me. I always have points. Sometimes I only get to 1 point. Sometimes I get to all of them. But let's go. Point number 1. So before I get into this, I want to tell you about an encounter that I had just last week here in the temple. I want you to know that everybody that's under the sound of my voice who are here in this temple, you have to understand what you're sitting under. And for the people that are listening, there are so many people right now that feel like they're watching me and you feel like you're just tuned into a Mother's Day service that you just so happen to stumble on. Let me tell you, you just stumbled into an encounter with God. Everything in your life is about to shift. The very fact that you are attracted to tune in and watch this broadcast means that there's a divine encounter waiting on you. And that's exactly what happened to me. So let me backtrack a little bit. Can we backtrack a little bit? You're not going to fall asleep, right? Now give me a neighbor check. Look at them in the eyes. Make sure they're not getting sleepy. Say, we're going somewhere. Say it louder. Say, we're going somewhere. All right, so a couple of years ago, that's right. I got an amen corner over there. What about this side? Say, we're going somewhere. All right, church is awake now. So a couple of years ago, my husband and I, my fine husband over there, can we give a hand clap for Apostle Jonathan Ferguson? Yes. Woo! Don't look too hard now. Okay, so a few years ago, God has blessed my husband and I to have several kids. And by the way, it's funny when people meet us and they just see us by ourselves and they're like, would you like children? We're like, we have children. They're like, how many? I say 4. They're like, oh, yeah, you don't need any more. And so a few years ago, we had 3 girls and we were believing God for another baby. And I was, praying and all that good stuff. And I ended up getting pregnant with that baby. But I ended up losing that baby. And I had a very, very traumatic miscarriage. And there are some people under the sound of my voice this morning who are even grieving over the loss of a baby, over the loss of something that you have dealt with. And so in that encounter I had, I want you to pay close attention. Because the reason that I'm backtracking is I'm going to backtrack and bring you all the way up to now. All right, so what happened during this encounter was there was an angel that came to me while I was worshiping. And this angel had needle and thread in their hands. And the angel said, I have to sew up your womb. See, there's a womb in the spirit. And God is declaring this morning that every empty place in the realm of the spirit that you have had holes and have not been able to birth, there is an opportunity. Oh, this side's not helping me. I said there is a womb in the spirit, and everything that the enemy has snatched from you, everything that the enemy has told you that you cannot have, God is saying, I am restoring that. I am sewing up your womb. I will allow you to give birth. You shall give birth to that business. You shall give birth to that. Come on, you shall give birth. You shall give birth to that invention. You shall give birth to that. I said there's a womb in the spirit. Sit down. So as the angel was healing my heart, God supernaturally healed me of the grief of that miscarriage. Let's backtrack. Let's speed you up to last week. In the temple during leadership class, we were worshiping and worshiping. And there was another thing that had been in the back of my memory, a traumatic experience that I had gone through. And I don't know about you, I feel like there's some people here and some that are even watching me right now. You've had some level of healings, but there's been something that in the back of your memory has traumatized you. And you prayed about it and you fasted about it, but the memory seems to traumatize you. And the horror reminds you of what you went through. And the pain and the memory, you're like, God, I just don't want to experience that anymore. Some of you close your eyes and you remember that abuse. You close your eyes and you remember that divorce. You close your eyes and you remember that experience. But while I was in the temple, those same angels that ministered to me during my miscarriage came back in the temple on Tuesday, and they came back, and in a moment, the Lord wiped that painful memory away. God is saying, the fact that you tuned in right now, the fact that you're in the temple right now, some of you have been dealing with pain and traumas and horrors and experiences, and God is saying, in an instant, I'll wipe it. In an instant, I'll clear it. In an instant, I will change it. In a moment, I will snatch it from you. God desires that we are completely whole. But what ushered me into both of those encounters was worship. I said what ushered me into both of those encounters was worship. There are some of you right now that you're looking at me, not understanding that the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords and the one that has the answer is walking in this room right now, and you're wondering what I'm saying next. And I'm telling you what ushered me into a moment of healing that the doctors could not do, that people could not do, was a moment of worship. So let's get into this. I don't have very long. Point number one. Worship allows you to enter into deep connection with Jesus. There's some of you here right now, and you don't even feel connected with Jesus. You're here wondering, why is it that when I go to church, other people cry and I don't cry? Why do certain people experience things and I don't experience? And Jesus is saying, I long for deep connection with you. I long for you to worship me. I long for you to lift up your hands. I long for you to allow the tears to stream. I long for you to cry out to me. I long for you to want me more than you want anything else. Do we want God more than we want anything else? Turn with me, John 4:23 to 24. John 4:23 and 24. That's really good. You all sound amazing. Anytime you feel and discern the moment moving, just go ahead and shift. But you're great right now. You all are amazing. You are in tune to the presence of the Lord. John 23. But the hour cometh and now is when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him. God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Now write this down, John 4:13 through 18. We're going to read this quickly, John 4:13 and 18. And here we're talking about the woman at the well. And Jesus answered and said unto her, whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water, springing up into everlasting life. The woman said unto him, Sir, give me this water that I thirst not, neither come hither to draw. The woman answered and said, I have no husband. Jesus said unto her, Thou hast well said, I have no husband. 18, last one. For thou hast had 5 husbands, and he whom thou now hast is now thy husband. We talk about the woman at the well, but for her to have that many husbands meant that she had voids in her life. Even for you watching me at home, there are some people right now that are listening to me. You don't even know why you're crying. It's because you've been searching for something, not understanding that everything that you need is in his presence. So maybe one of those husbands that she had, maybe she was reaching for affirmation. Maybe another one of those husbands, she was reaching for security. Or maybe even one of those husbands, she wanted to heal the mommy and daddy wounds as a child. We don't know exactly what she was searching for, but we know the fact that she had all these men, she was searching for something. I was searching for something before salvation. I know many of you don't know my testimony, but in a nutshell, I was completely depressed. Why? Because even though I was in church my whole life, between the ages of 10 to 12, I was molested by my youth pastor. I said by my youth pastor. There are so many women in here this morning and watching me on that screen that feel like wasted goods because somebody abused you, somebody molested you, somebody raped you, somebody rejected you, somebody abandoned you. And so you go searching for something to make up for the person who touched you. And you're searching for someone to make up for the pain that only Jesus could heal. So I was searching, because once you're violated, something in you dies. And so I began to search, by drinking. Every weekend, I was the type of person that my friends didn't want to go with me because they would have to pick me up and take me out of the club because I was like this, just drunk. I smoked every day. Every day. I remember going to McDonald's once. I was so mad and so angry, and I was in the line smoking a Black and Mild cigar. You're looking at me like, what? Yes. And people say, well, I don't see it. It's because when it's real deliverance, there is no residue. And so, that's why I said when it's real deliverance, there is no residue. My lips are not black. And so I was drinking, I was smoking, I was fighting, I was bullying people. Yes, I was going to the club just to fight. I was angry, I was mad because something was taken from me. My parents weren't there. I had mommy wounds, daddy wounds, and I was angry. And other people would go to the club and other people would drink and they would go back and they would feel comfortable and go to sleep. And I would still feel his presence even while I was drunk. I would get high to try to escape reality because reality was bad. And even when I came off my high, I would feel the Lord knocking at my heart. Because when you have a call of God on your life, the things that other people feel comfortable with, you are never comfortable because the love of God is chasing after you. It's coming after you when you don't want to feel his love. He said, I'm coming after you. You are my child. You are my daughter. While you're drunk, while you're in sin, some of you say, God, I don't deserve your love this morning. I just sinned last night. And God says, the fact that you're watching me, the fact that you're listening to me, the fact that you're here, the fact that you're watching this means that he is knocking at the doors of your heart. Isn't it a beautiful thing that no matter how nasty we are, he's like, but you're mine. I love you. You say, but God, I'm nasty. He said, oh, what are you talking about? You are fearfully and wonderfully made. I don't care who rejected you. Something's wrong with them. They can't see right. When I look at you, I don't see your mess. I don't see your sin. I see the righteousness of... Sit down. And so as I was in sin, it was so bad that I said, surely the world is a better place if I die. Surely nobody will miss me. Surely I messed up so much. And I remember feeling even then the presence of God. And I went to a church service and I said, God, if you don't touch me, and that's what some of you are saying right now. You're like, God, if you don't move for me. And I said, God, if you don't touch me, I'm going to run myself off of a bridge, a physical bridge. We're from Memphis, Tennessee, where there's a bridge there. dance in his presence. Said, though the devil is telling you your life is over, you haven't even tasted what I'm about to do in your life. And I didn't commit suicide, and he rescued me. And now I'm married with 4 kids, thriving businesses. Why? Because the fact that you're still here means that the devil is a liar. I said the fact that you're here watching me in the temple, I don't care what man has said, I don't care what the devil has said, that has said you made mistakes after mistakes. The devil is a liar. Come on, somebody needs to just say the devil is a liar. Oh, you don't sound, come on now. You gotta act like you really got some sense and say the devil is a liar. So let's go back. I don't have much time. Is this good? Are you asleep? So let's talk about how to enter into his presence, because the presence is increasing. Someone said we're going somewhere. At any given moment, there are going to be even more angels that fill this temple. So how to enter in? Number 1, this is 1A. Write this down. You have to be open and not harden your heart. The apostle of this house teaches this. The heart is the resting place for the presence of God. So some of you right now, even though you feel the presence of God convicting you, some people are saying, I don't want to feel anything. I don't want to cry. Somebody is being healed from the childhood wounds when your parents told you to stop crying, that you need to be strong, that you need to be tough. What do you mean worship is strength? When I'm able to cry out to God, that's where I gather my strength. It takes strength to be vulnerable in his presence. The second way to enter in is you have to be vulnerable. This woman at the well, she just said, you know what, you have 5 husbands, and the one that you're with is not yours. You know what she could have done? She could have been like, I'm gone, Jesus, I'm done. But she kept listening. Vulnerability opens an atmosphere for Jesus to enter in. I said vulnerability opens an atmosphere for Jesus to enter in. Vulnerability opens an atmosphere for Jesus to enter in. When he knows that you're open, he says, oh, I can come in and assist this one. Worship, write this down really quickly. Worship allows you to be sensitive. Worship changes your perspective. Worship keeps you tender and soft. Because women, we're not just warriors, we're worshipers. I always say this, is that if we're only women of war, always ready for battle, then our nature will be tough. God doesn't want us to walk around tough and hard. He wants us to be soft. Because when you're soft and you're tender, he can mold you and make you and bend you and move you. When you're tough and you're hard and you're always battling, if you're always doing it, what can he do? I said, if you're always doing it, what can he do? So women, we're not just warriors, we're worshipers. We're not just strong, we're soft. We're not just tough, we're tender. Because sometimes the war comes from wounded places in our soul where we really need deliverance.